Alright, just a quick disclaimer before the start of the video. I'm not a professional mechanic. I've done this all through my own research and just a bit of common sense really. If you do it and it doesn't necessarily go to plan, sorry, but not my problem, but hope it all goes well, and on with the video. I've noticed on my Fiat Grande that recently my headlight controls aren't working, so doing some research, I've come up with the fact that I'm going to have to replace the control unit behind the steering wheel. I couldn't find many videos on YouTube with a tutorial of how to do this, so I thought I may as well take you along the process as I'm doing it. So the first step we need to do is disconnect the battery, as we're going to have to take the main airbag out of the steering wheel. Negative first. There we are. Disconnected our battery. So now the next step, now we've disconnected our battery, is just going to be to wait for a while to allow any charge to get out of the system so we don't blow the airbag up when we decide to take it out. So I'm going to leave the car to stand for about an hour. So now for the next step, which is going to be removing all this plastic trim around the unit itself. Something that is worth taking note of, you notice on the back of the trim there's these little clips, and they literally just pull straight out, and that will release the bits of leather going over your steering column. So now comes the most tricky bit, which is getting the airbag out of the steering wheel. I've heard a lot of people struggle doing this, so let's see how it goes. I'm not sure how well it shows up on camera, but you can see these little indents here on both sides of the wheel. Hopefully these pop out nice and easy. So one thing I've learnt from that, there's definitely a knack to it. You need to sort of push the spring in, you'll feel it, and you want to lift up from the bottom and the top at the same time, rather than just trying to pull from the top or trying to push them in both sides and pull it out. Takes a bit of time, but I managed to do it. So now on to the next step. Now we've got the airbag out of the steering wheel, we just need to disconnect this, and then we can use our Torx bit to take the steering wheel off. So as you can see on the airbag, you've got these coloured plugs which you need to disconnect, along with one that plugs in up here. I'll show you those in a second, just so you know which ones to take out of the airbag, as not to blow yourself up. So there's your yellow cable, and there's your green cable, and there's the white cable that plugs in at the top. So once you've removed those, you can then take the airbag out. So now on to the next step. We've got to use a T45 Torx bit to undo the big bolt in the middle of the steering wheel, and then we can get the steering wheel off. So as I mentioned a second ago, that's the big Torx bolt that we're going to need to undo to take the steering wheel off. It's worth noting that you're going to need a bit of an extension bar so you can actually get your ratchet into the steering wheel. There we are, nice and easy. That's that nice and loose. There we are. Worth taking note, make sure your steering wheel's straight before you start the job. and you're not an idiot like me, and just make sure you're putting your steering wheel back on the same way when you reinstall it. You also want to make sure that you take this little wire here out that plugs into the steering wheel controls before you try and remove the wheel like I did. What I'm going to do now is undo the metal clamp that holds this unit on, and it's just by a little Allen bolt just behind. Just before you slide the unit off, you need to make sure you undo all the cables behind the unit itself so that it'll come away freely. One thing you will find is this cable at the back has like a weird clip on the back of it, so you've got a number 1, so you click that down, push it up, and it levers up and then allows you to release the cable. So now hopefully this should just slide off. So it's now out with the old and in with the new. This cost me about £30 off eBay, second hand, and apparently it works, but we'll find that out when we start the car back up later. So now it's basically just a case of putting everything back together. So follow the instructions I've given you now, but just in reverse. So now for the moment of truth, I'm going to start the car up for the first time without me in the seat, just in case the airbag decides to blow up. So let's see how it goes. All good. Now for the important bit, do my lights turn on and off? Yes, they do. So, as you can see, it's all done, all works, great. So now my headlights actually turn on and off rather than being stuck on, and hopefully it helps you guys out too. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.